So, I think we all remember the massive cultural wave that was the month or so after the 3-time platinum single, Driver's License, was released to the public to mass acclaim. Every single person in the world on every single social media platform was buzzing about the debut from Olivia Rodrigo. Due to all of this intense hype surrounding it, I decided to do the natural thing and avoid it at all costs. This is for two reasons. One, I have a hard time committing to any type of media that receives an earth-shattering level of attention and prominence because I always feel like the expectations that have been laid out in front of me will inevitably lead to a massive letdown. Two, the media tricked me. Whenever I clicked on a video about the song, aside from Todd in the Shadows, who's the best music reviewer on the site, and if you don't follow him already, you should definitely go follow him right now. It wasn't centered around the song itself. Instead, these videos focused on the implications of the song, involving the supposed love triangle between Rodrigo, Joshua Bassett, and Sabrina Carpenter. Now, as a guy in his 20s who doesn't care about celebrity drama whatsoever, this completely turned me off from the song altogether. That is, until the release of her album, Sour, was receiving the same amount of buzz that Driver's License was. The only difference? This time there wasn't a pointless storyline surrounding it. So about a week later, I sat down in my office and decided to give it a shot. 35 minutes later, it turns out, it's clearly one of the best mainstream pop albums released in, I don't know, ever. How good? Good enough for me to be making this video after 1.5 months of about half the album being in constant rotation on my Spotify. Also, side note, the media is just the worst. How dare you focus one of the most powerful breakup songs in recent memory not on the actual merit the song holds itself, but the teenage drama surrounding it? Heck, I doubt that I have much in common with Olivia Rodrigo whatsoever, but as someone who went through a breakup about 2 months ago, it resonated significantly with me, and I definitely could have used it at the time. But no, you just want to focus on the real lives of the real people you speculate about being at odds, all for a couple of clicks. Pathetic. Anyways, after one singular listen, I was convinced that Olivia Rodrigo was the next big thing. It's very difficult to find megastars in pop music. You'll often see superstars in pop music, your Justin Biebers, Selena Gomez's, Katy Perry's, and Jared Sheeran's are all good examples. On the other hand, megastars are much more rare, as the only ones that I can think of in the current landscape are Ariana Grande, Drake, and The Weeknd. Even among the crop that I just mentioned, though, Olivia Rodrigo just seems different. The three that I mentioned seem to have come from the classic formula of being a megastar. They made really good music for somewhere around a decade and constantly evolved their sound so much to the point that whatever they put out will be enormously popular and have a large group of people that absolutely love it. And as crazy as it sounds, from my perspective, it seems like Rodrigo has carved out her own path and created her own formula for the modern day megastar. And if you haven't guessed by now, that's what we're going to be talking about, so we might as well get to it, shall we? There are a couple of reasons why I believe that she is the next megastar of the pop world. The first of which is her lyrics. God, her lyrics. There's a theory that I like to talk about in my videos called the post-Empire mindset, which is curated by Bret Easton Ellis. It revolves around destroying the idea of being afraid to show the world that we're not okay, shunning the idea of the thin sheen of, I'm alright. Mainstream pop music in the past, for the most part, focused on the glitz and glamour of love and everything about being a celebrity. Even the breakup songs, sorry Swifties, like We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, have this sing-songy and upbeat nature to them. On the other hand, or in this case on the other side of the universe, Jesus Christ, Olivia Rodrigo's music stabs you right through the heart without any intention of giving you reprieve. She has this incredibly real and blunt force in her lyrics by avoiding any sugarcoating and just saying how she feels, unapologetically. There's a level of self-awareness in her words that signals an incredible amount of maturity in someone so young. Plus, while most artists have a plethora of people listed as writers on each song of their project, the most writers listed on one song of Sour is 3, and she's even credited as the sole writer on a couple of them. Now, don't think that there is any clumsiness in the bluntness of her lyrics. She has a wonderful knack for metaphors and similes in her songwriting, which I thought was endangered in modern mainstream music. She manages to elicit these powerful emotions from the listener and does so by just letting her guard down and baring herself to the world. And that's exactly what makes her perfect to take the mantle of the next megastar. If the online world has taught me anything, it is that early millennials and all of Gen Z have a completely different viewpoint of dealing with emotions. They're giant advocates for mental health awareness, constantly petition for the normalization of therapy, and openly discuss their issues in order to help people in the same situation as them. So, while other artists were speaking to a specific scenario that someone out there could relate to, Olivia Rodrigo is essentially speaking for an entire generation. And she has them completely backing her up. TikTok has become a major determining factor on the charts in the past couple of years or so. And with the way it is primarily populated with people in Gen Z, it's no surprise that 9 of the 11 songs on her album, released in May, are still, at the point of writing this, on the Billboard Hot 100. She also became the first artist to have her first 2 releases chart in the top 10 of the Hot 100. For a debut album, with the artist's only previous exposure in mainstream culture being Bizaardvark and High School Musical, The Show, The Manifesto, that's beyond impressive. Oh, and she was kind of also doing this all as a teenager, so we can add that to the list of awe-inspiring facts. In other cases, I'd be quick to call it a fluke, but she captured the feelings and thought process of an entire decade in 11 songs, so there's no way that I am doing that. Another aspect that I think contributes to the inevitable megastardom of Olivia Rodrigo is her actual vocal talent. Holy moly. It's very rare to find a vocalist who can implement vocal intonations while sounding commanding at the same time. Once again, the only people that I can think of to do that in the modern landscape of the pop scene is Ariana Grande and The Weeknd. Sounding so polished at such a young age, all the while talking about such intense and emotionally draining subjects, is a feat that I doubt most veteran vocalists could pull off as well as Rodrigo does. Yet she manages to sound so polished, all the while singing about things that are incredibly raw, unfiltered, and pure. In doing this, she perfectly encapsulates this haze of her experience in young adulthood. The fog that you catch yourself in on the sidewalk across from your house after your first heartbreak, where you just sit there and cry uncontrollably. The longing you feel for your first love when you see them with someone else, while simultaneously feeling spiteful and hoping that they'll never feel the ups that they did with you with anyone else. Driving around in your car and wishing more than anything that they were with you in the passenger seat. She includes the positives and the negatives, and bundles them all up into an 11-track album that has something other pop albums have almost always lacked: authenticity. And I guess that's the big reason why I think Olivia Rodrigo is a megastar like we've never seen before. The songwriting prowess, the gorgeous vocals that sound the exact same on a record that they do in a live performance, the complete and utter vulnerability she has displayed to hundreds of millions of people, and the anthemic relatability in all of her songs. I've never seen a mainstream artist completely reject the idea of fitting into the mold of music that we expect to see at the top of the charts. Whenever I hear an Olivia Rodrigo song on the radio, I know it's Olivia Rodrigo. She stands so far out from the crowd that she's on another plane of existence all her own. A plane of existence that is forging a way forward for the progression of pop music to a new stasis where people aren't afraid to show every single part of themselves in their art. So I'm confident in saying that even though she's already one of the biggest stars on the planet right now, she will be skyrocketing to a level that we have never seen in the future. And I can't wait to watch it happen. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you could leave a like and subscribe to the channel, that would be cool, but if you don't want to, that's also alright. Thanks to my patrons Carl McGee and Weston Katecki. The link to my Patreon as well as my Twitter are in the description. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.